All right, what's up, team? It's 1 o'clock. It's Monday. Time for another Monday message. Excited to get to talk to everybody today. We have a super special guest today. It's me. It's Omar. I'm going to be talking about something that I really enjoy talking about. It's a topic that comes up a lot, especially in my live classes. It comes up a lot, and basically, we're going to be talking about how to fund your business, right? How do you invest in your business? How do you scale it? And it's applicable to new people because that's the lens it's typically through, right? When I'm working with new folks. But I think it applies to the veterans too, right? If you're trying to scale your business on the recruiting side, if you're trying to get into estate planning, the money has to come from somewhere, right? So we got to create that capital or we got to get it. So I'm excited to talk about that here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the week that was last week. So we're going to start with all excited to talk about that here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the week that was last week. We want help getting over 1,000 annual premium. Excited to talk about that here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the week that was last week. We want help getting over 1,000. Kelsey, excited to talk about that here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the week that was last 1,000 and help getting over 1,000. Kelsey, excited to talk about that here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the week that was last 1,000 and help getting over 1,000. Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the week that was last 1,000. Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the week that was last 1,000. Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the week that was last 1,000. Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the week that was last 1,000. Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Roger Kelsey, excited to talk about that here. First, let's talk about the last 6 last update we got. So Vaughn, Rashida, and LeBay Shapir all tied with one contract. I know we got some enrollees last week, and if you guys are enrolling people in PLE, we do want to record that. That is activity. We want to talk about it. We want to shout you guys out for that. So just send that over to us, either in Discord, and let us know so we can put that on the numbers. So good job, guys. What else we got? Okay, per usual, Steven's on the road. He is in Detroit to Michigan today, going out again to California at the end of the month. Y'all know we got a family reunion coming up too, and so be mindful of that too. So what's that, 6 weeks, give or take, maybe a little bit more out from that. So start thinking about your production, right? You might need to bump it up 20, 25% to plan for those couple of days when you're going to be in the conference, because you don't want to be in the conference thinking about, income that you're missing, right? We want checks coming into the bank account while you're feeding your business and feeding your mind too. So be thinking about that. On the heels of family reunion, we are going to have a boot camp here at the home office about a month out. Give you guys a couple more weeks there. So be thinking about that too. And it's just a great time to obviously hang out with us, the office staff. We can work a little closer together. It's a little different when you can be knee to knee. There's going to be some great training. Carriers are going to be there. So we would love to hang out and see you guys. We love Discord. We love our meetings, but it's nice to be able to actually get some FaceTime with you guys. So family reunion first and foremost. Make sure you can get there, and then we'll have the boot camp in August. Okay, first policies. All right, I love to see these names. I know most of these people have worked directly with the majority of them. We got Freddie out in Utah, Brian, Noah, Valencia, and Dawn. Congratulations on your first policies. Stephen told me a long time ago, if you can do it once, you can do it a million times. All right, so congratulations. Welcome to the team and keep it up. Excuse me, guys, still on the heels of this sickness. Last time y'all saw me on the Monday message, I lost my voice immediately, like the same day. I just enough voice to get through the Monday message, then was gone for like 4 days. Okay, cool. So we are going to be talking about how to fund your business, how to start your business, how to invest in it, right? So I'm going to lay some groundwork first, so just hang tight with me for a minute or two before we get into the 3 top ways to fund your business and why that's important, some pros and cons of each. So first things first, if you're taking your business seriously, you need to be building. Say that one more time. If you're taking your business seriously, this business, you need to be building, right? Why? I mean, it just makes sense when you get started and get to a certain point in your business. Let's say you get good enough to write 15, 20, 25,000 every month. You get pretty good at that, right? Now, I'm not saying don't keep increasing your skills and get to the point where you can do 40,000 on your own pen. That's great. But your business is a part of your actual life, right? There's only so many hours in the day. You guys have elderly parents to take care of. Some of you got small children to take care of. Some of you guys are paying for college, right? For some of your kids, you got things going on, right? Your time is valuable. Your time is important. So again, keep growing your skill set. Get to the point where you can pop out 50 grand in a month, right? That'll naturally happen as you expand your business and your clients and you do different things, different policy types. But at a certain point, it just becomes more efficient for you to show 5 or 10 other people how to produce $8,000, $10,000 a month. And duplicate yourself again and show them how to do the same thing. All right, and I know like your work will be different. You'll still be very busy, to be clear, but your work will be different. You'll get your flexibility back. You'll get some of that freedom, right, that we're talking about. That's how you get it back. You scale that business. You'll still be very busy, right? You got to train people. You got to mentor people. You got to ask a lot of questions, you know, and make sure you're scaling properly. But that is how you get that time back, right? You build that team. I haven't met a single person that got an override check that was in a rush to give it back, right? So just be thinking about that. So on your quest to scale your business, because it just makes sense to do that after a while, right? So once you start doing that and you start recruiting people, whether it's warm market to begin with, whether you do cold market recruiting, however you choose to go about it, things are going to change because your responsibility changes. You have a responsibility to these people that you're bringing into this business, right? It's not enough to just bring them in here and just let them go wild, right? These people are putting their trust and their faith into you, right? That they can do this business. So you can't paint the picture of how you're going to come in here and make all this money and not be at least able to paint a path forward for them and guide them through it. I'm not saying you have to have all the answers. You got people, support staff, and people who will help you out, but it is your responsibility to make sure they get the help they need, whether it's from you or otherwise, right? Because they're gonna be looking at you if they come in here and their expectations aren't met, right? So you are accountable to clarity. That's a big word around here in this office, something we talk about a lot. How can we be more clear with people so they understand what it's going to take to be successful in this business based on whatever it is they're trying to do, right? Still with me? Hang tight, hang tight. So if they got goals and things that they want to do and they want to achieve, that's great. We can help them do it, but you've got to be able to paint a picture and make it make sense for them. You can't just bring them in here, and throw them on the Monday message, throw them on the TWC and just tell them, hey, go figure it out, right? That's not okay. I'm a big believer in leaving people better than we found them. Right? So whether you're here for 6 weeks, 6 years, or somewhere in between, like I want to at least help you make some money, of course, but at least equip you with some skills that you can take on somewhere else if that's what happens, right? So I'm always leading into it with that. So one more concept I'm going to introduce. So you get that responsibility part, right? The reason why it's important for you to understand your responsibility with your new recruits is because everybody's got a runway. That's a metaphor we use in the office all the time. I flew for the first time as an adult. I was like 26 or something, so I was very scared. I didn't understand the physics of this giant aluminum tube and going into the air 30,000 feet, 500 miles an hour like that. I couldn't reconcile that, right? But I did know this, and I do know this. If that plane doesn't reach a certain speed, by the time it gets to the end of that runway, it's gonna be ugly, right? So every person that you bring into this business has a runway. And so for intents and purposes here, this is how long can they invest this money without getting a return on that money? Runway, right? Very important. Everyone's gonna be different. Everyone's in a different situation. But we have to ask the right questions to understand their situation, right? Because even though there's only three main ways you're gonna fund your business, if I don't understand your full situation here, it's gonna be hard for me to give you the right type of advice that you need. So everybody's got a runway, and you need to understand what theirs are. And I mean, you gotta get deep into it with them. You gotta understand what their expenses are, right? How much do they need to make to cover their obligations? Are you currently covering your obligations, right? Some people are not. I need to understand that, just the same way I need to understand what a client's taking for medication before I know what they can be approved for. Same. So now that we got that groundwork laid down, it's important to understand that, because when it comes to the first way you can fund your business, which is cash on hand, right? So if you're taking notes, write that down. Number one, cash on hand. It's very clear that you are clear with this, right? Because that if you're not clear on this, people will get the wrong idea. They're going to end up in a bad situation, right? So when I say cash on hand, I mean money that you have put aside specifically to invest into this business. I don't mean your savings. I don't mean your nest egg. I don't mean your retirement funds. None of that, right? That money is where it's supposed to be because it's supposed to be there. If you're taking money out of your emergency funds, that's telling me that your runway is very short, right? And if your runway is very short, there's only so much, like there's physics here, right? Not literally, but there's physics here in the life insurance business too, as far as starting your business. I can only do so much with 12 feet of runway. I can't make your plane take off, right? And that's fine. I just need to be able to communicate that clearly to you so we can figure out what we need to do. So cash on hand, I'm not talking about your retirement, your nest egg. Now, I would say if it's anywhere, just to put some numbers to it, if it's anywhere less than $5,000 liquid, I pretend like you don't even have it. Because the reality is you don't, right? If you have $4,000 to invest in leads, you really got no money to invest in leads. And here's why. I've seen this movie a lot, guys. So if you have $3,000 total, right, to invest in the leads, here's the thought process that most people are gonna have. All right, so I got my licenses, spent some money on that. I went ahead and got my ticket, to family reunion, whatever, did all that. And now I'm gonna spend the bare minimum that I can possibly spend on leads for 3 or 4 weeks, right? $100 a month, $200 a month, or whatever, because they've only got this little bit of money. And the reality is they need that money back quickly. So when I say $4,000, like, look at it through this lens. If you can't invest $1,000 a week for 4 consecutive weeks without needing all of that $4,000 back by the end of 30 days, you don't have $4,000. Does that make sense, right? Like you got 4,000, you're investing 1,000 a week in leads, right? If you need that whole 4,000 back by the end of 30 days, you don't really have it. Now, chances are you invest $1,000 a week, we're probably gonna 3x that, 5x that, right? If we're really working, that's probably what's gonna happen. But you're not going to invest $1,000 a week if you've only got $3,000. You're gonna invest 100 a week, 150 a week, and say, when I write business on that, I'm gonna get my 8 leads, I'm gonna write business on that, and then I'm gonna take that money, I'm gonna invest it back. I'm gonna do this thing, right? The obvious problem with that, if you've been around for a minute, that you know, like with 8 leads, like, that's not enough to do anything with. You're banking on already being good at your job in order to have a hope of making that work. It's like trying to win a basketball game with only dunks, and you're 5'7". Not impossible. Probably not gonna work out, right? So I've talked people out, to be clear here, be clear. And this is not sanctioned by Stephen, by the way. I didn't tell him I was talking about this, so I don't know if I'll be in trouble for talking like this with y'all, but I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help. Be clear with people, right? I have taught people out of spending $100 a month and told them to go get another job. Because I know how this ends. You're gonna spend $100 for 2 weeks, not make any money or make very little, not make your investment back, and now you're looking for another job anyway in 2 weeks. I'd rather you go do DoorDash or something, right, on the side and get the money up, then we can go and figure out what we're gonna do, right? So again, less than $4,000, you don't really have it. Don't even think about it, right? So again, when I say that, I know I am ruling out most people. And that's fine, But I'm trying to get you guys to look at it through the lens of you are starting a business, right? Most people are not gonna start a business with what they have in their savings account. You're not gonna be in business very long. So I'm okay. I'm okay with you not having the cash on hand. That's cool, right? So is that clear? So if they got $10,000 set aside to invest in this business, let's go. Let's get to it, right? But don't take people's last $100, right, and tell them to spend it on leads when you know they don't have it, right? So, and that's cool. Again, that's very small amount of people, but I wanted to address the cash on hand because I don't want people spending money they don't really have. You know what I'm saying? So we're good on that. Number 2, and just so you know, as we go down the list, there's only 3. You will like, at least in my experience, you will like each one less and less. Right? I get more and more pushback the further I go down the list. So number 2 is warm market. If you don't have cash on hand, that's fine. I don't expect most people to. So, all right, what can we do? Let's talk to our warm market. Now, most of you guys know, if we've talked, like I have an older brother, he's in car sales, does very well in the car business, right? Extremely well. Now, 4th of July is coming up, and whenever the Smith family gets together, when my brother comes in the door, it's, hey, how you doing? And incoming sales pitch in 3, 2, it's coming. We all know it. He's shameless. It's what makes him good at his job, but like he's shameless. Most people have pushback on the warm market piece because of that, right? They don't want to be that person. I would argue my brother makes a lot of money, so look at it how you will. But I understand the frustration or the nervousness around it, but you don't have to make it weird, right? Get with us, get with the team here. We have templates, we have ways that you can approach your warm market, your friends, your family in a way that's tactful, in a way that's non-threatening, right? Hey, I just got this new job working with a bunch of insurance companies, and as a part of my training, my manager wants me to sit down with 5 friends and family and review their policies that they have through work. Can we have lunch next week? Can I buy you lunch next week? All right, not a big deal. Not a big deal. So don't be weird about talking to your warm market because one, that's how we all work. We all want to work with people that we like and we trust and we know. Trust me, you have people that need to talk about this in your circle, in your phone, that would love to sit down with you because they know you, they trust you, they like you, they love you even in some cases, right? And the pushback I get is, well, I don't want it to seem transactional. I don't want them to think I'm only sitting down with them because I want to sell them a life insurance policy, right? And my pushback is, I don't think they're going to think that. And if they do think that, then that makes me question your relationship with that person. Like, do you join everything that pops up and try to sell them Tupperware and all the things? Well, okay, like that makes sense why they might feel that way. But it was put to me like this. This is the other side, the more serious side of it. How would it make you feel if someone you know, you're close with, a family member that you love, dies without life insurance and you have a license? Would you be embarrassed to talk to them about it? It kind of makes that seem silly, right? So your heart's in the right place, for one. One, because these are people that you do care about. You want to make sure that they have what they think they have and that they have enough, right? And on the other side of that, it's a very simple and fast way to get the seed money that you need for your business. 5,000, 10,000, like that, running some warm market appointments, right? To be clear, I don't care. I don't care if you cash on hand, warm market, option number 3, like that. None of it matters to me. It only matters to me what makes sense for your situation. I'm trying to help you, right? So these are the conversations we have every week with new and new-ish agents, and I'm happy to have it with you guys and your agents if you want me to, but I'm very straightforward about it, right? I'm probably more straightforward than I'm being right now because there's a camera on me, but because I just know what happens when we're not set up properly and we go into it with the wrong kind of expectations. And activity is a whole other problem, right? That's the money's that got to be there to run the business. Activity, that's another Monday message for another time. But y'all with me on that? So, all right. Number 3. This is the one that I get the most pushback with. Yeah, probably the most pushback. And I get why if you don't understand it. So let me land the plane here. So number 3, we got warm market, we got cash on hand, and now we've got a loan, like a personal loan, most of the time. Whether that's from friends and family, most often is going to be from the bank, right? If you were starting, insert XYZ business here, before you go to Bank of America or wherever you do, like they're going to want a lot. Like if they're going to give you some capital, they're going to want a business plan with projections and who's got what role and for what responsibilities. Like there's a lot that goes into that, right? Because you're taking your business seriously. And if you want them to take you seriously, like I need to see that you got a plan. Why would you treat your insurance business any different than that? Right? If you don't have a plan, that's fine. Let's make one quickly and make it make sense. And part of it could be getting a personal loan. And I don't mean going out there and borrowing $50,000 or something crazy like that. You don't need that, right? I don't think you would need anything more than $7,000 or $8,000 max in most cases, right? Because here's what you're trying to cover. I'm trying to cover, again, 4 consecutive weeks of $1,000 a week in my marketing investment, my lead investment, right? That's what I'm trying to cover, at least that. So, and a little bit of buffer on top of that, right? For licensing, if you need to buy a new laptop, external monitor, something, right? All the business things you need, get those things too. And again, this mostly applies to people that are working like 25, 35 hours a week. So if you're spending $1,000, you got to be working at least 30 hours a week to even do the right activity, right? So why do you keep harping on $1,000 a week? Because you're not going to be good at your job, most people, when they start out. And I want to make sure I can guarantee, I don't really deal in guarantees because that variable is you, right? But that's going to put you in position to be able to make a lot of sales just from the low-hanging fruit and the proper activity. You're going to be making money every week just from effort. Now, I'm going to be working with you too, right? We're going to tighten up the things you need to tighten up to make sure you increase those skills very quickly. But that means like you're doing $200, $300 a day. I'm talking to 40 people a week, and I'm writing several $1,000s a week every single week while you're learning what you're doing. That's why $1,000, right? Because if you're going to go get a personal loan, that means you're taking yourself seriously. That means you're taking your business seriously, and we're going to be very serious with you, right? And when I say personal loan, like we've done the research, right? Like a lot of it. Like I'm not just saying go out. Don't after this call, don't go to the credit union and ask for money. I'm not talking about that, right? I'm talking about we've done the extensive research on the types of loans that are available to you, the types of loans you might want to consider depending on your background, what you've got going on. Do you pay your loan off early or not? There could be penalties for that, right? We've got a lot of research that goes into this, right? So should someone want to evaluate that opportunity, we're going to put some real literature in front of you before we move forward and how we're going to decide how we're going to move forward. Does that make sense? So again, let's go back to your $4,000. Like that's what you got in the bank. Like I'm just kind of landing the plane on this, because this is like the biggest thing that people are afraid of, like the loan. Like when I say that, it's like, yeah. So let me make this make sense for you. If you got $3,000 or $4,000 in your bank account, and you want to spend that on your business, and I say don't do that, right? And you decide to skip over the families and friends and go straight to the loan. Think of it this way: you borrow $7,000 or $8,000. You stretch that principal payment out for 6 years, 7 years, right? Interest somewhere in the 10%, 25%, somewhere in that range. That's going to put your payment somewhere in the realm of $150 a month, all right, give or take. And almost always, there's a 45-day period from the time you receive the funds to the time the first payment is even made, right? So you got $6,000 or $7,000. You've got 6 weeks before any loan payment, your $150 is even due, right? If we haven't tripled up your loan amount by that time, like we're missing the boat on something. But that's not the point. The point is, goes back to that $4,000. Effectively, your business expenses are $150 a month. So before you even need to start coming out of your own pocket, you've already got $4,000 right here, right? So if I'm just thinking about the runway, I'm trying to push the runway out, how many times can I make my $150 payment with just my $4,000 that I have set aside? Right? You've already put that there. It's already there. That's starting to make sense? How many months do you even pay that little bitty payment before you're even taking money that you're making to make that payment? I hope I'm not too convoluted with that. Does that make sense? So your business expenses are $150 a month that you're not even paying with real money, because that's coming from the nest egg or the little bit you got over here. You got your $1,000 a week that you're putting into your leads. You're on the dial jams, you're on the training calls, you're getting help. You're doing massive amounts of activity, because that's what $1,000 a week helps you do. And now 6 weeks from now, when that first bill is due, you've probably paid $15,000 worth of commissions on the low end, right? And those are just, again, those are minimum numbers based on you doing some decent or okay activity. So there's a lot more that goes into each of these, but that's it in a nutshell, right? And I kind of got a little into the numbers here, but that's the kind of conversations you have to have when you're making business decisions, right? If you're trying to get the $20,000 together to do your first couple of seminars, right, you've got to be thinking this way. If you're trying to scale your business so you can invest, so you can start spending more money on recruiting, this is the way you have to look at it. And again, I don't care. I don't care which route we decide to take. Let's take it and attack it. But those are the routes, right? So if none of that sounds like something that you don't want to do, it's like, well, okay, well maybe you're not in a position to be in this business right now. Maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. And I'm okay telling somebody that. What I'm not going to do is take your $75 a week. It's just not going to work out, right? It's not going to work out. Let's pick a route that makes sense for your time and your availability. Let's make a plan and let's go crazy. Let's do it. Like, let's actually do it, right? So again, activity is a whole other side of the coin that we're not talking about. But this is the way that you fund your business to get off the ground, right? And off to a good, fast start while you're learning. Because there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of headaches you're going to have on your way to getting your business off of the ground or scaling to the next plateau, wherever that is, to get your first 5 unique writers underneath your belt. That's a lot of time investment, and it's going to take some capital investment too, right? So that's just how business works. We got to find it from somewhere, right? So again, I hope I kind of just laid the groundwork. I hope you guys kind of get what I'm getting at here. But we just see a lot of people that come in with expectations and not a clear path forward of how to get where they want to be. And this is the conversation that we have with them to help them get thinking in that mode, whether that's I'm not really prepared for this yet, or I am prepared and I want to take this route to go do it, right? Because we're gonna execute it with them as best we can. We can't make the dials for you, but we can do just about everything else, right? So hope that was helpful, guys. If you want to do more of this, like a deep dive on it, I'm in the Discord. Y'all DM me, let me know. I'll book out one-on-ones if you guys want to either do this with us or if you want me to do it with one of your agents. This is how we talk about it. right? So hope that was helpful, guys. Let's get back out there, get to it. And if you need us, let us know. Let's get to it. See you soon.